Well, we skipped ahead a little bit. Let's see, where I last left you guys, we were in Pennsylvania, driving on our way down to Lancaster, out to Lancaster, Pennsylvania, for a delivery, and that delivery, everything went all right. It was just one of those deals where, because of that storm that hit, and I had shut down, with about 3 hours left on my clock, but I decided to shut down anyway for safety. So the following day, that Thursday, when I last did a little bit of reporting, I knew I had a long day ahead of me, because it was a good 9 hours or so, at least, of that drive left to deliver. And the place I was delivering is 24/7, so I could have delivered there at any time, but there was a midnight cutoff, so I had to get there before midnight, which was certainly doable. It was just a very long day, and it proved to be exactly that. I won't mention the company, but it's a major corporation, and as it goes sometimes with these gigantic facilities, sometimes they have some labor issues. And when I got there, first of all, it was supposed to be a drop and hook, but they didn't have any empty trailers, so they had to turn it into a live offload, which is fine. That happens fairly often, so no big deal. And the only issue was they had some sort of a labor works stoppage at the facility. Don't know exactly what that was all about. It's none of my business anyway, but essentially I was told as I first got in the gate that, oh gosh, we're not going to be able to offload you, before tomorrow at the earliest. And at that point I was pretty much almost out of hours, and I'm in the middle of Pennsylvania, Lancaster, Pennsylvania. And once you start getting to the East Coast, parking at nighttime, parking in general on the East Coast is a major issue for semi-trucks, because everything was built so long ago, and everything's really tight, and the streets are really tight, and there's just no space, so that was not a real pleasant thing to hear. And of course you can't stay at their facility, even though they have tons and tons of room. Facilities generally don't let you park there, which is also an issue, but neither here nor there. So very long story short, I was able to talk the gate guard into radioing over into the warehouse, and at the end of all of it, he was a super nice guy. I was super nice to him. It pays to be nice people. Don't get pissed off. Don't get all irritated. When you get bad news, man, stay upbeat, stay positive, because these guys are just doing a job, just like you're driving the truck, you're doing your job. They've got their own stresses and frustrations and all of that stuff, so don't add to their list. Just be as nice as you can be. And once again, it paid off, because this guy did me a huge favor. Called his buddy over in the warehouse. The guy said, yeah, look, I'll offload him. So it's 0:30 in the morning. I'm already out of hours, so just PC'd over onto the dock, and they offloaded me, and got the trailer empty. I kept my trailer, and then hit personal conveyance, and off I went to go find a parking space. And I ended up having to go all over the hell, all over the place in Pennsylvania trying to find. I must have stopped at about 10 truck stops. Of course, everybody's packed to the gills. People are inventing spaces. Just absolute pandemonium. And I finally found a Pilot Flying J that had like 150 spots. It was huge. And there were like 3 or 4 spaces left in there. So thank God I was finally able to park after an hour into personal conveyance, with clock completely at 0. So parked there, got that done, and in all of this calamity, I apologize. I just didn't even think to record anything, because there's just way too much stress going on and other things I had to focus on. So anyway, we're going to get rolling here in just a second. I stayed at that Pilot overnight. The next morning, my dispatcher had another load for me to get me back to the Chicago area, and that picked up in a place, I'm trying to remember the name of it. It was something like Red Lion or Red something or other. I can't remember. Very small town in Pennsylvania, close by, about an hour from that Pilot. And So stopped at that place, had to wait there for quite a long time, but it was, you know, kind of a mom and pop factory kind of thing. And they make some sort of parts of some kind, I have no idea. But very nice people. You know, I had to wait there for an hour and a half before they can get me onto a dock. And of course, because it's the East Coast, the docks are crazy small, very, very tight, lots of trucks, and you know, so that was fun getting in there, but I got in with no problem. Got loaded and on my way. And the load I'm on now is that one coming out of Pennsylvania. It's going to Chicago metro area. The only issue now is that we're into the weekend, right? So I picked that up on a Friday, and of course it doesn't deliver till Monday morning. So that means that what I could do easily in 2 days, I now have to stretch out over the weekend. So, you know, I'm taking off. It's 11 o'clock in the morning, which is way late, but you know, it doesn't matter. I've got too much time on this load. So, which is, you know, again, that's how trucking is. You know, the load before this, I was squished to the minute to get it there, and you know, now this one, I've got all kinds of time, all the time in the world, too much time. So I'm just going to do like 300 miles or so today. I'm going to stop at one of the Ohio Turnpike rest areas. They've got those Sunoco rest areas on the Ohio Turnpike on 80, and they're really nice, and nice place to park, and I'm just going to park it there. So I'll do 300 miles or so today. That'll leave me with, you know, 300 some odd miles to do tomorrow, which is Sunday, to get myself positioned really close to the receiver, and then deliver it Monday morning, and I'm done with the load. So anyway, we're going to get rolling here. Oh, I set up a new camera too. If you didn't notice, I decided to put the bald spot cam back up. I tried that once. For anybody that's watched my videos, when I was with Hirschbach, I had to do a night drive, which was very common when you pull reefer. And I set it up one time, and I thought it was kind of a cool angle, so I want to try it again. Hope it turns out. But anyway, as I'm snaking my way through here, we got to try and find our way back to lovely Interstate 80. And we're taking the scenic drive out of the Pilot. Yes, it's quite lovely, right? These are the beautiful things you see when you drive a truck. And about to get back on the interstate, so more later. And we're back. Yeah, what a beautiful, weird, unusual day today. You know, it's very overcast, but there's these spots where the sun is poking through and making some really cool, like, lighting effects and shadows and bright light and all this weird stuff happening. So that was really cool. I hope that keeps happening. It stopped for now, but hopefully it'll start up again. Anyway, we're cruising along. We're still in Pennsylvania. We're on I-80, Pennsylvania Turnpike, which will soon, in about, I don't know, 100 miles, or actually 93 miles to be exact, 93-mile marker. It will turn into Ohio and the Ohio Turnpike. And as I said before, we got a really short, easy day today. I'm taking it easy. Got the cruise control set at 65, where I normally do. I don't really care to go any faster. There's really no point. All it does is burn fuel, and it doesn't really get you much anyway. So 65 is a nice cruising speed. Oh, here comes some more snow flurries. Yay! Anyway, I leave the super trucking to everybody else, the people that want to be in a crazy hurry, like Mr. Prime here. Probably doing 70 plus easily. Let's see what he's doing. He's about to get in front of me. 72. Hey, there we go. So cool to have radar in the front of the truck. Anyway, wow, a little snow squall. This is cool. But you know, it just occurred to me another thing that that I have been noticing in my short time trucking, just over a year now, and it's something that I think is really troublesome. And I think you know, there's a YouTuber that I watch who's actually just now getting into trucking. Young lady named Janna. She's awesome. Actually, I'll throw a link to her channel in the description below, so go check her channel out. She's a really interesting person, really intelligent person, very well-spoken, articulate person, and very knowledgeable, especially for somebody as young as she is. Really got a head on her shoulders, and really got some insightful stuff about both physical and mental fitness. And she's now becoming a flatbedder and going through the trials and tribulations of not only learning how to drive a truck with a manual transmission, by the way, but also learning how to do flatbedding, which is not an easy thing. So my hat's off to her. Way to go, Janna. Anyway, wow, this weather's getting crazy fast. I'm going to poke myself down to 62, maybe even 60. 61, let's go 60, now let's go 60, and I might just flip the cruise off here in a minute if it starts getting any worse. Because if it gets slippery, you don't want to drive with the cruise control on. Actually, you know what, I'm going to wait until I get through this stuff, and we'll talk about what I wanted to talk about. So I'm going to concentrate now, so see you in a bit. Alright, and we're back. Yeah, quite a bit of a snow squall. I was up at a higher elevation, and man, it started blasting. I could hardly see anything there for a little bit, but it's starting to clear up a little now. But this is some very icy stuff. The truck has warned me for icing. I'm watching my windshield. I'm seeing some slushy ice building up. I'm watching my mirrors. My mirrors are also building up a little bit of ice. Slushy ice, not really bad ice, but still, ice is never good. So, you know what? This is the time where you slow the hell down. That's the only smart thing to do. You know what? Let everybody in the world pass you. If they want to be Supermen, let them go. Don't F around with ice. Ice and semi-trucks, not a good combination. I do not want to jackknife, ever. Nor do I want to fly off the road. So this is when I take it nice and slow. I can see the guy ahead of me who went flying past me has now come to his senses, and he's got his four-ways on, and he's driving a lot slower. My guess is he probably got a little bit of wiggle with the trailer, and it probably scared the piss out of him. So he's slowed down. Good. Whatever it takes, slow the hell down. Anyway, I'm driving with my foot as well by now. That's one of the other things for any new drivers out there. You get very used to cruise control, and like I talked about, the cruise control in these trucks, absolutely astounding what it can do, and I spend the majority of my driving on cruise control for that very reason. The truck can drive itself far more efficiently and far more safely than the driver can. Sorry, I'm going to get probably a lot of flack for that, but the truck, I'm watching what it's doing, and it's doing everything correct. Very, very seldom does it make a mistake where I have to take over. And I'm always watchful for that, so I'm very quick to take over. Oh, here comes a nutcase. Yeah, another owner up, flying through here like nobody's business. Real smart. Anyway, it's starting to turn more into rain again, so that's really good. But yeah, back to the cruise control. For any of you new drivers or newer drivers, do not get lazy and drive with the cruise control when it starts getting slippery. A teeny little bit of rain, whatever, as long as it's not the first rain after a long dry period where it can get oily and slippery, then you want to be extra vigilant as well. But if it's been like a super rainy period and it's just a light rain, whatever, yeah, cruise control is probably okay, especially if you're on like flat land and stuff. But as soon as traction starts becoming an issue, anything more slippery, anything with more up and down, anything with more twisty turns, and switch that cruise control off and drive with your foot. That little bit of advice could save your life and save some other people's lives, because you do not want to lose control of jackknife. So anyway, back to the point of what I wanted to talk about, and that is something that, it just dawned on me. I think I was calling her Janna, and I sure as hell hope not. But her name is Janna. which is kind of funny because one of my sister's closest friends for her entire life is named Janna. It's a name I'm familiar with, but I think I was calling her Janna, and if so, and if you're watching this, Janna, I'm sorry, brain fart. So her name is Janna. Anyway, again, I'll link her channel. But she talked about it on her last video, and it's something that rings near and dear to me too, because I try to be a very healthy person. Now, I smoke, which is one of the stupidest freaking things you can do, but everything else that I do, as far as my health, I do pretty well. I have a very good diet. I take care of myself. You know, the smoking is really the only contradiction, really, to an otherwise pretty healthy lifestyle. And one of the things that I learned very fast when I started doing this is that we truck drivers do not have access to healthy food. And I think that's a major, major problem. Now, truck drivers across the country, we are the backbone of the United States. And I know that starts sounding a little bit cliche, and I'm not looking for medals and awards. It's just a job, and it's a job that I'm doing. So, you know, I don't seek any accolades for it. However, on the same token, I'm aware of the fact that this country grinds to a halt if truck drivers are not moving. So, with that said, we have an entire industry of labor, meaning truck drivers, that are being forced, really, to consume poison on a daily basis, because the only food choices available to us when you walk into any truck stop, you walk in and the first thing you notice are the coolers. They have, you know, walls of the cooler section, you know, like a 7-Eleven or what have you. And the entire wall of refrigerated coolers is nothing but energy drinks and sugary poison crap. There is nothing consumable other than water, and every now and then you'll see them, they'll have some kombuchas, very rarely, and maybe some iced coffees and some teas, but other than that, everything in there is literally poison. And it's almost like, I'm not quite sure. Unfortunately, I have a feeling that, you know, just like any other store, you know, they tend to stock what sells, and if it doesn't sell, they don't stock it. So it might be just a result of the fact that a lot of people in trucking have just gotten into such bad habits that, you know, energy drinks and all that crap is the only thing that they buy. So I'm sure maybe there's some of that as part of the issue, but you know, that's all that there is. And then the rest of the shelves are filled with, you know, chips and sugar and candy and crap and donuts and just all sorts of absolute poison to put in your body. And, you know, I'm not one of these, you know, super out there, you know, health nuts that, you know, swears at people when they don't eat right and all that. Believe me, I'm not that way. Last night I had 4 Arby's roast beefs and 2 large curly fries with a root beer. I was freaking starving. And, you know, I'm all for the junk food. You know, every now and then, hey, you know, it's awesome. And I loved every single second of it. But I don't eat it every day. And I don't eat it, you know, multiple times per day. And unfortunately, a lot of the guys that are, you know, in trucking and gals, they do. And they become extremely unhealthy. And one of the things that Janna pointed out in her video is that, you know, a lot of these truck stops, you walk in them, and one of the very first things you see is a display rack of canes. You know, it's almost like that it's expected that, you know, truck drivers are just going to become crippled and unhealthy, and it doesn't have to be. The reason that all that happens is because of terrible habits. And, you know, you can do this job and you can maintain your health. Now, it is a lot harder, yes, but it can be done. It just requires some effort. You know, one of the things that I do, you know, thankfully, I have a gigantic refrigerator on this truck, which is an amazingly awesome thing. But even if I have one of the, like, you know, the Freightliner installed fridges, which I've had before, they're really tiny ones that don't hold much. Then I just bring a cooler, you know, one of those Canadian-made coolers that plugs into a cigarette lighter adapter and keeps stuff cool for extra cool capacity. But I bring my food with me. You know, as soon as I'm on home time, I go grocery shopping and I pick up good food. And a lot of it needs to be refrigerated. I eat a lot of green stuff, a lot of produce and stuff. But I bring it with me. And I do not buy stuff at truck stops. I just don't. Other than the occasional, like I did last night, you know, I hit the Arby's there. You know, but that's not the norm. You know, that's the exception, not the rule. So you are able to do it. Like under my bunk, I have nothing but bottled water, and I drink bottled water all day long and keep myself hydrated, because that's another thing when you drive a truck. No matter what the weather is outside, whether you have the heat on or the air conditioning, you tend to dehydrate, and you need to keep drinking. And a lot of times, you know, drivers, they don't want to stop to pee, so they don't drink and they don't stay hydrated. Well, you know, that starts developing all sorts of issues with your kidneys, your urinary tract, and all sorts of other stuff. You know, peeing is eliminating toxins from your body, and instead of doing that, you're forcing your body to hold on to the toxins. So I mean, it's bad for everything, kidneys, liver, everything. Not a good habit to get into. So, you know, bring a pee bottle with you and drink. You need to pee, pull off of you know, an exit ramp and pull right back onto the on ramp. Do your thing in a bottle and keep moving. It's not that big of a deal. Anyway, I don't want to sit here on a soapbox and get all preachy. We're getting back into some snow here again. Yay! Slow down, Mr. Truck. Very gentle on the brakes. Do not use Jake brakes when it is slippery, folks. Please do not do that. You are begging for a jackknife, because a Jake brake is only slowing your tractor down. It is not slowing the wheels of your trailer down. So if you use them, you might see the ass end of your trailer coming up on one of your side view mirrors, which is not a good thing. So anyway, back to focusing and driving. More later. Look at all this fluffy white stuff. How beautiful, but very dangerous. And I've got a caution on in my dashboard. I don't know, maybe you can see it in the bald spot cam, that yellow caution that's in the center of my dash. That is letting me know that there's debris covering the front radar, and that debris happens to be slushy ice. So next time I pull over, I'll, if it's not gone and fallen off by itself, I'll have to go and clear that off. But it's nothing urgent. You know, I can certainly drive. I'm driving in full manual anyway with my foot, so I don't really need it, using my eyes and common sense here. So anyway, more later. All right, well, we just stopped at a rest stop just because I want to get rid of the debris on the front of the truck. So let's go see. Let's see what kind of buildup we got. Oh, not too bad. Most of it's gone by now, but can you see right there, right above the license plate? That's the sensor. That is the forward-looking radar. So right here, when that gets all covered, you can't see and you lose your radar. So we got that all off of there now. Nice little rest stop. There's my truck, by the way. Yeah, so if you see GP truck number 21220, come say hi. There she is in all her glory. Let's get back on the road. Hello, driver's seat. So did I mention just how gorgeous the landscape is in Pennsylvania? Man, it is pretty. And boy, this weather just keeps changing and changing and changing. It's amazing. You go from like clear, beautiful sky to snowstorm and back again. It's pretty cool. Boy, Mother Nature is amazing. And that's one of the things that I absolutely love about driving a truck for a living. I mean, the scenery is just amazing. You don't see this sitting in a cubicle. It's just amazing. You know, it's like you're out being involved with life, and I love that about this job. Anyway, I just thought that that was really cool looking, that little piece of land we were rolling through, so I thought I would flip the camera on again. More later. Just breathtaking. Absolutely beautiful. Man. And to think I get paid for this. And back into the whiteout we go. Wow. It was like almost like those showers that they get in Florida, where it's like bright sunshine, and then there's a wall of water, and you can't see anything. That's this exact same thing this is, except it's snow. I just came from like bright sunshine, clear sky, and a straight line into this. Crazy. But this is very hilly land, and obviously, as soon as you go up and down these little hills, go through the valleys and whatnot, the weather changes on a dime. They keep having these signs like this one coming up, which is not lit up. But they're saying, watch for changing conditions. Yeah, I would say so. Anyway, back to driving. Well, welcome to the blizzard. Ice blizzard. It was like a monsoon downpour of ice just a couple seconds ago. And still you got these wing nuts like this guy flying by me. I'm doing 45 right now with my hazards on. At least he's got his hazards on, because the visibility is going from this, where you can kind of see, to completely impossible to see farther than your hood. Not the type of stuff you want to be driving fast through. And you can see on the windshield, I'm sure, I am just caked with slushy ice. Crazy weather. But again, in this kind of stuff, no cruise control, no Jake brakes, drive with your foot, put your hazards on, and go freaking slow. This is not the time to be showing off your amazing truck driving skills like this guy. And watch, he's going to come up and he's going to tailgate the shit out of that SUV that's in the left lane. Yep, he's going to come way too close to that guy. So if that SUV all of a sudden had to stop quickly, that would be a fatality. That truck would roll right over the top of them. So it's idiots like that that give truckers bad names. I call them rolling menaces. Anyway, off of my soapbox now and back to driving. Wow, okay, so we had a whole bunch of clear weather there for a little bit in the last remaining parts of Pennsylvania. And now, as we are approaching the Pennsylvania-Ohio border, wow, another squall coming here. So, craziness. Alright, and we are coming to the very end of our little stay in Pennsylvania. Thank you, Pennsylvania. You were a wonderful host, as always. Thank you very much. And we are now entering Ohio. Guess where that's from? Anybody know the TV show? Anyway, hello, Ohio. You're looking very cold and snowy today. And drug traffickers go to prison. Thank you for that. Nice to see you again, Ohio. We will be staying in your lovely state overnight tonight. And it would be nice if you could get rid of the snow, but whatever. We're all right. We're going slow. We're being careful. It's all good. Welcome to Ohio, everybody. Yeah, so all that stuff I said about eating healthy and being healthy and not poisoning yourself with junk on the road, yeah. Well, here I am. See what a hypocrite I am? But I saw that they had a Dunkin' Donuts at this Ohio Turnpike rest stop. And these Ohio Turnpike rest stops, by the way, man, these things should be the blueprint for the entire country. They're absolutely beautiful and spotless. Tons of parking. That's the way you should do a rest stop. Anyway, good old Dunkin' Donuts, regular coffee, cream and sugar, and some little Dunkin' munchkins or whatever the hell they're called, the little donut holes. Only got 5 of them, but still, I needed some junk. So anyway, here I am, the hypocrite. Oh, and remember what I said about being nice to people? And like being a kind human being and like trying to brighten people's day and be friendly with them. Yeah, they had 2 young ladies at the Dunkin' Donuts there, and they looked pretty frazzled. They'd been obviously working for a bit, and they were very busy because none of the other restaurants in that place are open. They're remodeling. So Dunkin' Donuts is it. That's all that's in there. So they looked pretty frazzled. And I was super friendly with them and super nice to them and stuff. So I got the 5 pieces, 5 donut holes, right? 5-pack, whatever the hell they call it. Yeah, the girl put 9 in there. There you go. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas everywhere. Wait a second. It's fucking March. It's almost April. Why is it still fucking snowing? Stop already. Well, thankfully the weather has cleared up, and still continuing on through Ohio. Ohio. Anybody know the reference? It was a great TV show. Anyway, yeah, we're approaching Toledo, and shortly after that is going to be a service plaza where I plan on bedding down for the night. And I just had a parting thought before I wind it up for today, and that is circling back a little bit. I said earlier about truckers having such a critical role in keeping the country moving and all of that, and that as far as I'm concerned, when somebody thanks me or whatever the heck, and it does happen, I always appreciate it, just like I do when somebody thanks me for my service in the military. I always appreciate it, but I have the same kind of attitude about trucking that I do about my military service, and that is, I signed up for it. I'm a big boy, I was a big boy, and I knew what I was getting into. And I signed up for it voluntarily, knowing the risks and the pitfalls and the hardness and the difficulties and all of that good stuff and the risks. And I signed up for it because it interested me. And therefore, the thanks aren't required. I just kind of see it as that, I did a job, and that's what I did in the military, and I'm doing a job now in trucking. Now, that said, again, I do appreciate it, and I think it's really wonderful that so many people across the country are so quick to express their appreciation for truck drivers. I think that's wonderful, as they should, because everything that you own was made possible by trucks, right? Excuse me just a second. Just want to give this guy a little room. My car was blocking me in. So I think that's wonderful, and I've seen across overpasses over the highway, people flying flags saying "Thank you, truckers," and I've seen signs on the side of the highway by businesses and on farm fields and whatnot saying "Thank you, truck drivers," and all that. I think that's wonderful. I think it's fantastic. But I don't think it should stop at truck drivers. I think everybody should be thanked for what they do, because everybody plays a part. It's like that fast food worker at Arby's last night. I ate because of them. Thank you, Arby's worker. I really appreciate the job you're doing, and that's a tough job, and it doesn't get paid a lot of money. And thank you for doing it. I think if all of us had a little bit more of that attitude, it would be the world would be a better place. But anyway, the final parting thought that I had that I wanted to leave today with was the fact that I think it's wonderful that truckers are being appreciated and respected. I think it's fantastic. And I think it's kind of ironic that the only two organizations that I know of that outright opposite do not respect the truck drivers and treat them like pieces of robotic shit are the vast majority of the trucking companies and the United States Department of Transportation. Those two places, those two organizations, treat truck drivers like robotic filth. And I think that's damn ironic, and I think it's damn disappointing, and I think it should change. And I leave you with that. See ya!